Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Sir, today we'd like to start the interview, sir. First of all, my name is Darshan.
And I'm Panchali.
Hi.
And we'd like to start, sir, by asking a few things about your profession itself as a consultant, sir.
Okay.
So, first off, Panchali.
Yeah, so basically we would like to know what it's like to design a hospital that's universally accessible to everyone. I mean, what do you need to factor in when you're designing a hospital as such?
Yes, the hospital, building hospitals is a part of the whole process.
Right.
Building, actual building. Actually, hospital planning, to build a hospital you have to plan.
Yeah.
The planning would take all these variables. So to answer your question, finally once you build a hospital is a place that would treat patients, investigate patients, then do rehabilitation, they do training, and then research and development. So they should do whole gamut of things within the hospital, and it should be, and that has to be done as per the accepted norms and standards. You can't just treat a patient in a hospital, right? And also, finally, you should achieve some of the objectives of the organization, that particular hospital. They have separate objectives, and most importantly, you have to satisfy the patient, which is a difficult entity. So, if you, in a nutshell, in a hospital is that you can't just build a building because there are standards of accepted standards, simply because it's a regulated industry. Now you have industries like unregulated industries. Hotels are unregulated industry. Hospitals are regulated industry. You can't just start a hospital and run, because the building has to be accredited by the respective ministries, maybe health ministry, and people who are working there, not only they have to have a degree, but they have to have a license to practice. So it's regulated simply because of healthcare. In healthcare, there's no grey, it's always in the grey area. There's no black and white. A simple example is, you would love to, now you have so you get a wound and I'm going to give you a tetanus toxoid. That's the thing that we give once you come in. So you would ask me, for anything else you have other than an injection? I would say no. Then can you give me a painless injection? I would say no, there's nothing called painless injections. We can do painless injections. So this is a very grey area. So because of greyness, they have a lot of regulations in this industry. It's regulated by the respective ministries of health. It's parliamentary law. By law it's regulated. And people who are working inside is licensed, regulated. And a lot of grey things like the painless and painless. There's a lot of ethical component in this. So with that background, we have to look into the designing a hospital. So the planning stage has to take about 40% of time of the whole hospital project. So coming back to your question again, there are different objectives in a typical hospital project. Now, it depends on the stakeholders. There's an investor. There's a guy who will fund the project. Maybe it's a state or by a private entity. What do they need? They want a
Good hospital.
They want the return on investment.
Yeah.
Right? The government sector, they look at how many patients would treat in that hospital. The private investor will do how much money I'm going to get at the end of the day. So it's a different entity, financial perspective. And then if you look at the clinical perspective, to design a hospital, to deliver programs, it should cater for the need of the market or the industry. Now, I can't just get up in the morning and say I'm going to have IE hospital. I love IE. There should be a patience to come in, right? So how we plan this is that we look at different variables in the first stage in any hospital. project is you have to have an idea or the concept. So I would say I would like to have a hospital. Okay, fine. I mean, they would come to me. Then they would ask me, what is the best hospital to have? Then I would tell them, hold on, we have to do a thing called a feasibility study. So in the feasibility study, what we do is, we look into the demographics, that is the population growth, and with the population growth and the change in the age structure, there are different needs. Now, for example, Sri Lanka's growth rate is well below the replacement rate, below 1.
Yeah.
Now, or just above 1, like below 2. For you to have a growth in the population, you have to build 2 people. Now, it's below. So, because of that, there's an aging population and very high risk young population, right? So, 2 ends of the population needs a lot of care, right? So, that's one area. So, definitely you have to cater for this hospital, looking at the age and the young. Young will be precious, a lot of aging people would come into hospital. So, that's one big area. So, you provide services which are, that's one area. Second is the epidemiology. Epidemiology is the study of the diseases. What are the disease patterns in this part of the world? Fortunately or unfortunately, we have exactly the same pattern in developed countries. If you compare with the diabetes, hypertension, all that, you see the evolution of healthcare is faster in this part of the world, especially in a country like Sri Lanka than the others. Good example, you use the latest iPhones and Blackberries. To develop the iPhone, they took about 20 years. You get it immediately back. Similarly, we absorb a lot of things from the lifestyles have been changed. So similar diseases are going to be here as well. Epidemiology. Then have the economy and the socio-economic factors. Sedentary lifestyles. People won't move. But still we eat rice, the same amount. But why we ate rice those days? Because we were manual farmers. And then obesity would come in, diabetes come in, hypertension come in, social pressure, there's migration towards more urban areas. So the whole lifestyle is changing. More towards alcohol, then the migration from country to country, the transfer of diseases, all that we take into factor. Rainfall, dengue, etc., etc. A lot of other things would come in. Then health sector factors. Then we come into who are they. Now we know we have identified certain areas to get in this hospital. And then we would look at who are the people who are providing. You have to look at the market. Who are the competitors or the other providers. Based on that, you organize your service plan. We call it as a medical service plan. After the feasibility, we organize a medical service plan where we would exactly say these are the services we are going to provide, maybe cardiological services, neurology, blah, 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 and this is our capacity based on your market area. The one thing is difficult in Sri Lanka because we don't have a thing called a referral system. In other countries, you are restricted in one area. You can't just walk into a hospital, you have to go through a GP. Now, then the country is developing, the infrastructure is getting in, a lot of people are moving into urban areas so for healthcare. So that's one of the tricky areas. Then what we do is, then the finance. With this medical plan, we build it up, financial model, where how many patients to need, the investor wanted money in 5 years. So develop the model as it is. So I myself have done a financial model and that is used by many now. I didn't kept the rights. Patent rights, but I have given it to others because once then you build then you know how much you are going to spend, and then next stage you get the other stakeholders, consultants, few consumer studies you do parallelly, and then based on that you model your hospital. So basically that's what I mainly do. And then once you do that, then you get the architects in, engineers in, you get the financial other guys in, other stakeholders in, then you design the project from there onwards, the hospital. Once you start designing the hospital, there are many areas. In a typical hospital project, you have 14 phases. First is I spoke to project development phase. That's the number one. Then you get the designing phase. Then you get all the guys in and you tell them, that's what I want. It go back and forth to, and then you have the finance phase. You project finance to raise finance, then how to organize the cash flows and how to do that, everything. It's a massive work. Then the human resource place. It's a massive, most difficult thing, human resource. You don't have proper nurses. You have to start, if you start a hospital now, you have to start a nursing school or tell somebody to train them. Because there's very limited nurses in, and so well as the others. So you have to have, starting with the human resource plan, organization structures, recruitment plans, job descriptions. It's enormous amount of work there. Then you move into when you move into the systems.
Yeah.
So you have to put systems. We can't run a hospital without putting systems. So input and output. When a patient comes in, reception. How to treat a patient, how to look into the patient, the policy structures, you put systems in. Right? Hospital operational systems, starting from the patient care systems and support systems. It's a massive load. You do all that. Then you get the information system, HIS, hospital information systems, how to organize IT system, put in and all the work processes and all that. Then there's facility management processes has to come in another phase. All these has to be detailed, policy and protocols have to put in. Then there's design, there's finance, equipment phase. It's a massive area. How to, according to your medical service plan, what are the equipments and what are the specs you should have, specifications, and all that. It's a lot of work there. Then furniture, accessories. Starting from the curtains, you can't just put a curtain there. It should be washable, infection control things will come in, and then in the designing phase also you have to do a lot of work. You can't just put up, these things cannot be used, these carpets, which will be washable, and so many things come in. Then commissioning phase. There are about 14 phases that you go into. So that's what we do. Then finally, medical administrator has to be trained. It's a massive training phase. They can't just come and sit in this hospital. This is a different one. You see, the most complex projects in the world, other than NASA's one, even this is more complex than sending a rocket outside to Mars, because it's one track. Objective is one, from here to Mars. So you can have variables are changing, patterns are different, not maximum. It's very narrow. But if you look at a hospital project, building is something, because there's rainfall, there's so many issues. And then running it is so much of difficulty you get it, because all these people are trained in different schools. Nurses are trained in nursing school. Medical students doctors are trained in medical schools. They develop different value sets. They are controlled by different bodies. So but at the end of the day, all these people, the finance guy comes from SIMA or whatever, right? And what are they going at the end of the day? Treating patients.